My name is Jen, and today I wanted to do something a little differently. I wanted to show you some of the things I keep in my pantry and in my stockpile at all times so that there's always food on hand. And this just ensures that my family is covered no matter what. I think that as moms, one of our biggest fears is not being able to feed our family, so I make it a priority to always have a stockpile on hand. This isn't just prepping for the end of the world. The USDA actually recommends that you keep an emergency supply on hand at all times. I live in a place where it snows really hard, and we live about 30 minutes away from the nearest big city. There have been times where we haven't been able to travel, and having a stockpile just gives me peace of mind. If you can, take $15 to $20 from every weekly grocery budget and put it towards your stockpile. Eventually, you'll build your pantry. It doesn't have to be all at once. You can buy rice when it's marked down, sugar, cans, spices, and eventually you'll have a big enough stockpile for when emergencies hit or when money's tight. Okay. Now let's talk about the things I always keep on hand in my pantry. Spices. I always keep spices on hand: onion, garlic powder, salt, pepper, crushed red peppers, Italian seasoning, parsley, anything that you use to cook often. Make sure that you buy plenty of spices and have them on hand. These used to be around 50 cents, I think, and they've gone up to around 98 cents. They aren't very expensive, and I always buy 2 or 3 of these. This last year in December, I finally splurged and bought myself these big containers of spices from Sam's Club. And these are a little pricey. It's about $10 a bottle, but these will last you over a year, at least for us. So get yourself some spices and always have them on hand. They will be such a time saver that you don't have to run to the store anytime you need some. You'll just always have them. Another thing you should always have on hand is oil. I have extra virgin olive oil on hand, at least 1 extra bottle at all times. And I have canola oil. I also keep a giant jug. It's about 35 pounds of frying oil, and I keep that at the very top of my pantry in case of an emergency. If I absolutely don't have any oil, I can dip into that. Another thing I always have on hand is this pancake mix. I get this one at Sam's Club, and it's just add water only. So no matter what, you can just add water and you can have some pancakes. I always keep big bags of rice on hand at all times. I love basmati rice. This is a 20-pound bag of rice, and I typically get it for around $21. I think it's gone up to $25, but I always have 2 or 3 of these on hand at all times. Like I said, I'm a huge rice lover, so I always keep all types of rice. I keep brown rice, basmati rice, jasmine rice, and sushi rice. But sushi rice is very, very affordable. It's around $13, I think, is typically how much I get this at Costco. $13, and this is 25 pounds of sushi rice. This will last us maybe 6 months to a year, depending on how often we use it. I personally love sushi rice, and I eat it with everything. Make sure you always have pastas on hand too. These go down to like less than $1.80 sometimes. Anytime they go on sale, I grab about 10 at a time. Also, these little Mexican pastas are around 32 cents. So they're super affordable. You can always have 10 on hand and you can make little soups. Let's talk protein. I always keep different types of beans at all times. I keep black beans, pinto beans, northern beans. I also keep cans of kidney beans. That way we always have protein on hand, and I can always make something with it. You can make refried beans, you can make them into soups, or just eat them as is in case of an emergency. Canned meats, they're a great source of protein and they last for a really long time. So I always keep canned chicken, canned tuna, and Spam. Another thing that I always love to have on hand is ramen, dehydrated eggs, milk when I can. Things that you can make with just water, I love to have that. I also keep dehydrated potatoes. Another thing that I always have on hand too, and I find it cheaper to get it at Sam's Club or Costco whenever it goes on sale, is medicine. So I'd like to keep NyQuils, Tylenols, Vicks Vapor Rub, cough drops, stuff like that, because when you're sick, you just don't want to go to the store. I also like to keep some sort of Gatorade and electrolytes in the house at all times. And then I have small children, so Tylenols, Motrins, stuff like that, Band-Aids, Neosporin, things that are just everyday things that you should have on hand. I like to get those in bulk, and then Costco and Sam's Club is really good about putting those things on sale as well. Another thing I wanted to mention, if you have an HSA, a health savings account, check what's covered. Usually more than just doctor visits are covered. Things like over-the-counter meds, first aid supplies, or sometimes even sunglasses and sunscreen. Feel free to pause the video right here and take a look at the list. Things that I always have on hand no matter what, so that I never have to think about it and I just always know that it's at home, is garlic heads. I always have garlic cloves. on hand no matter what. Anytime I go to the store, I grab 1 or 2 just because I want to always have garlic. I never want to be in a situation where I don't have any. So I always have fresh garlic cloves. But there has been some times where I run out of fresh garlic, so I always like to have a backup, and I just splurged on this giant container of minced garlic. And I think this was around $9 at Sam's Club, which I think is a great buy. It's probably gonna last me the rest of the year. I'm Hispanic, so I always have onions, Roma tomatoes, cilantro, green bell peppers, and limes on hand at all times. I also always keep, this is just my preference, I always keep dehydrated chiles. You can make any salsa or soup or stew with it. If I have these things on hand, I know that I can whip up almost any meal. Another thing I wanted to mention that I always have on hand is baking items. I always keep sugar, baking powder, baking soda, active dry yeast. Something else that I always have on hand is I always keep condiments, mayo, ketchup, mustard. Almost every single time I go to the store, I grab 1 thing of ketchup and 1 thing of mustard, sometimes 2. I always grab soy sauce, oyster sauce, Worcestershire sauce. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I always keep these condiments because I know I can make most sauces with them. I can make yum yum sauce, I can make chicken, I can do marinades, all sorts of stuff. So I always keep condiments and things that I always know I'm going to use so that there's never an issue of me running out. So every time I go to the store, ketchup sometimes goes on sale for like 98 cents. So I always grab 2 to 3. And if I like know that my stockpile has enough ketchup, I'll grab maybe 1. I always keep Chick-fil-A sauce for the kids. I always have mustard. I just recently started buying mayo at Costco because it goes on sale. It's a huge container. This is a good brand. And then sometimes they're like $3 off, and this lasts us a long time. So no matter what happens, if I can't make it to the store, I know I can whip up a rustic bread if I need to, or a cake or a dessert or something. Not too long ago, I did a video where I purchased $200 worth of beef from a local farm here in town. Whenever we have extra money, we like to stock up on meats. So whenever my husband gets a work bonus, or whenever there's just a tax refund or extra income coming into our house, I like to spend $200 to $300 and put it into the freezer for meats that I know will last us. When we were newly married, I remember the first or second year we were married, I did a huge yard sale, and all of the money that I sold, which was around $500, I put it into our freezer into meats. We live around 30 minutes away from the nearest big city, so I like to think of our pantry as our insurance. If we get snowed in, if there's traffic, if there's really bad fog, we get horrible fog where I live, or if there's just any emergency, I know that we're going to be okay. Building a pantry isn't fear-based. It's actually really empowering, and you're actually setting yourself up for success. So if you're just getting started and you don't know where to begin, I suggest starting small with around $15. Just add an extra $10 to $15 or even $20 if you have the budget, and dedicate that to your pantry. You'll be shocked how fast your pantry actually grows. And there's other things that I didn't mention on here, but if you'd like to see more of what I always keep on hand, I would love to show you. Let me know in the comments down below, what are your pantry items must have. If you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and give me a follow. Bye.